Welcome to The Land, your bet sports betting show. 2 WNBA games here on Saturday. Been off a little bit with the videos here as we really haven't had that many props early enough for me to get stuff to you. But we've got an early game on Saturday with the Lynx in the sky. So I wanted to make sure I got this out a little bit earlier for you. Get into everything you need to know about some players that are going to be available. That we can get ahead of some stuff here. If you get to this early, I think you're going to get some really good value on these lines. And then we also need to look at A'ja Wilson. If she doesn't play for the Aces here, what happens in their game against the Valkyries? So going to get into all that right now. If that sounds good, give this video a like. Let's jump right into it. While I've been off, we've been killing it in the VIP Discord. Did want to let you know in the last 5 days, we're up nearly 12 units there, 19 and 13, but we hit a couple really nice plus money hitters in there, including the parlay that we hit with that Angel Reese and Elizabeth Williams under for Chicago there after Cardoso was coming back. She played enough that it ate into what those ladies were doing, and we're going to have Cardoso back in this game as well. So there's going to be some interesting looks here. Like I said, some value that we found here over the last 5 days. Really happy to have turned this thing around. So if you do want to jump in, still offering you guys a free month for if you want to get into any of the sports books that are listed in the description of the video. You can go ahead and sign up using code LYB. That'll get you a free month in the VIP Discord as well. So just let me know if you do sign up for any of these books using code LYB. I'll go ahead and get you that free month in the VIP Discord. It's at JL Boogie on Twitter or Discord. Let's get right into this first game with the Sky and the Lynx. Early start in Chicago with the Lynx there visiting the Sky. We're going to have the normal rotation here for the Lynx: Williams, McBride, Carlton, Collier, and Alana Smith. And on the other side, the key here is we've got Banham in there and Michaela. Then is Cardoso, not necessarily listed yet as a starter. She came back from playing overseas, right? Now she's back, played, in the 20s in terms of her minutes in the last game. Didn't start, but we've seen that where players don't start their first game back, coming back from the international tournaments. But I think by this game, she's going to get in there for full minutes. This is obviously a Lynx team that you can't mess around with. They're going to want to throw their best players out there. There's no reason for Cardoso not to start. So that should give us some value on the props for her that we're going to get into right now using Props Madness. As always, going to be using Props Madness here to look at these WNBA player props with you guys. This is the #1 sports betting research tool around, and I did want to show you. You know how if you hover over these game logs for these players, you're going to be able to see their stats for that game. Well, they added fouls. You can now look at how many fouls a player had in a game. It's going to be right below field goal attempts. And it's going to be incredibly helpful because now you don't really need to leave here to go see what happened. Did a player not get a lot of minutes because they were in foul trouble? Well, now you're going to know right away. Yeah, maybe a player got fewer minutes because she was in foul trouble or what have you. So this is the best way to study for props and research what you need for these bets. Use code LYB if you do want to jump in. Get yourself 25% off as well as 7 days for a free trial if you're interested. But let's kick it off with Angel Reese, who we know has been on a tear, right? Especially with the points and the boards. In the last game was the first time she didn't go over on the boards. That was a tough matchup against the wings there, who are good at limiting boards to centers and to power forwards. But Angel Reese also down on the minutes was at 30, whereas most of the time with Cardoso out, you could expect her to play in the mid to high 30s, was averaging about 36, 37 minutes per game when she was playing without Cardoso over this recent stretch of getting a ton of props, right? But now we've got Cardoso back. Like I said, I think she's in the starting lineup. This PRA is up at 31.5. It's gone up. And we're talking about someone who's averaging about 30 on the season overall. But if you look at her games with Cardoso, we put her in the game here, show only the games that she's played with Camila Cardoso. We're talking about down to 26.9. So she needs to get 32 to go over. She's averaging 27 with this player that is very crucial to her stats in Cardoso. And she's going up against one of the best defenses in the league. They are currently ranked #1 with their defensive rating. And although, they've been prone to giving up boards here and there, they're still going to have one of the better defenses down low. And we're talking about Reese getting a big reduction in her minutes and usage overall with Cardoso out there. So under 31.5, looks like there's even 32.5 for those of you betting with ESPN Bet. Love the under there, which leads you to just go right into why I like the over for Cardoso. I think this is where you can say, well, the books are overvaluing Angel Reese. They're undervaluing Camila Cardoso. So the points that and the rebounds and the assists that we don't think Angel Reese is going to get, we do think Camila Cardoso is going to get those as long as she has normal minutes. Like if you look at projections for who's starting across the league on various sites like ESPN or RotoWire, a lot of these sites have Cardoso not starting. They have Elizabeth Williams starting. but the books don't even offer us Elizabeth Williams props for a reason, because they know. So they're undervaluing Cardoso, though, either way, right? Like 10 points for her, someone averaging 12.5 on the season, even the boards right at 6.5. If you look at her history versus this team, not even necessarily looking mostly at this season, if you look at last season as well, this is where she played 3 games, pretty much the same team, right? As we're seeing this year for the Lynx. In all of those 3 games, averaging nearly 10 boards per game, just got under 10 boards once, and the points averaging 13.7. So she has a good history. Even though this is a good defense, they can be vulnerable a bit down low, especially when you have someone about 6'7" of her size. I think she's in a really good spot to get some overs in this game. Last player I would look at here is Ariel Atkins, and I think she's good for another under, honestly. This is at 21.5. Another almost strictly numbers play when you look at the fact that she's not even averaging 22. She's barely averaging 21 PRA per game. And if we're talking about going up against one of the better defenses in the league. Now, in this last game, 33 minutes, went 3 for 14, had 6 assists and 5 rebounds. That's above her pay grade for both these props, right? I don't expect her to get that high, and she has not been scoring nearly as much as she was earlier in the season when we kind of banked on her getting 15 plus. Now even 13.5 overall in the season, right? She's not even getting close to that number. 6 of 19 games that she's hit 14 plus points. This is not a game that I would want to bank on her doing that. She had 11 because of the poor shooting in the last one. I would bank on that once again in this early start in Chicago. This is another under on the PRA that I like the most. I don't really like where these Minnesota Lynx numbers are at right now, but I will say as we get into their props, starting with the best player in the league, Napheesa Collier, I'm giving her that nod. We're talking about her playing at 21.5 points for this prop, and she's a 23, 24 points per game scorer. And I've been saying if we see her points prop at 21 or 22.5, I've got to go to the over. Well, that's burned me 3 games in a row now trying to hit over 21.5 points for Napheesa. And you add on the fact that head-to-head, this is not a great matchup for her. We pull this out and look at earlier in the season, 21 points. If we're looking at the PRA too, really low number compared to her season averages. And this is a really bad team overall in the Sky, but this is a team that at least is strong down low. Does kind of add to why she's not able to bully anybody and get easy points. Not really getting to the free throw line either. If you look at last season as well, similar kind of story here, where you look at her numbers under PRA in all of these games. If we look at the points, I believe under in all of those as well for 21.5 points. So although I would love to have this be the bounce back game for Collier, the history with her and the Sky is kind of leading me to go, this isn't the matchup to pick up, to sort of start betting on her turning around what's been a bad last 3 games. And I just want to point out, she's played the minutes. Like, these games have been within 10 points. The Sky kind of have their number as well. For a team that's not nearly as good as the Lynx, they play them really tough. 5 points, 8 points, and 17 points are the way that the Lynx won last season. Not really enough that Napheesa's not getting big minutes. So what I'm saying is those unders for her are not the result of not playing big minutes. They're just the result of a tougher matchup and her not getting it in this one. I wanted to use Courtney Williams as an example real quick because she's kind of a good example of what I've been talking about with how I'm betting the W and what I kind of attribute this turnaround in the W betting for myself as I've made these 12 units in the last 5 days. A lot of that is attributable to the fact that I'm not really playing the matchup quite as much. So while I understand that this is a very easy matchup against the Sky, right? You look at what they do in terms of PRA, for example, how bad they are limiting just everything to guards and quick guards who like to get to the rim and can shoot a bit from outside. Courtney Williams has been on fire, but this number is high. It's at 26.5. And my point here is I play the number, not the matchup. And we're getting her at a really high number because it's a good matchup and she's been on fire lately. So the props lines continue to rise for her. And now you have to buy really, really high if you want to bet on Courtney Williams overs, despite the matchup. Despite how well she's been playing, she's going to come back down to earth to her averages at some point, and I don't really want to bet on her continuing this even in an easy matchup, which has a wonky, weird start on a Saturday at 1 p.m. or local time if Chicago. I can't remember if it's East. I think it's Central time, so it'll be like 12 p.m. local time, right, in Chicago. So I don't really love that for Courtney Williams. I just wanted to use her as the example of a cautionary tale that just because the matchup is good in the WNBA, you got to play the number and what's normal, and 27 PRA is not normal for Courtney Williams. As we jump into this next matchup, go ahead and give the video a like if you're getting anything out of the stuff we're bringing you to help you with your player props. Make sure to subscribe as well so you don't miss any of the WNBA action the rest of this season. Looking at this matchup real quick, starting with Asia, right? She hurt her wrist in that last game, had to come out, did not return, missed their last game. That was a 1-point loss to the Mystics, heartbreaking fashion. And now there's still no timetable for her return. So despite the fact that she's listed questionable, I don't expect her to play. Looking at two quick important numbers, without Asia or with Asia on the court this season, the games average 163 points per game when she's out there, right? In the 4 games that they've played without her, that total has dropped down to 15 points to 148. That's what these averages are at, about 76 to 72 average totals for each team in the Aces case. With Asia, it's like 82, 81. So this is a big difference for sure without Asia. And we should look at the starting lineups without her. We're looking at Stokes jumping back in, Nalissa Smith, Jackie Young, Jewel Lloyd, and then Chelsea Gray. And on the other side, I think we can probably bank on this lineup for the Valkyries that we've been seeing, which is Burton and then Kate Martin in there, as well as Tiffany Hayes. Thornton and Fagbenle should be out there once again. Fagbenle, a great example of someone who didn't start a game or two after coming back from the international tournament, now right back into her starting role as the starting center for this team. But what we need to talk about with these two teams is the different directions that they've been heading, especially if Asia's not in there. You can bank on this being the case a ton more, right? Which is the record, starting with that. Flip-flop the records there, 6-4 for the Valks, 4-6 for the Aces. Net rating, the Valkyrie have been the 3rd best team overall, net rating-wise, versus 9th for the Aces. 4th in defensive rating for the Aces, but I will point out 2 of those games or 3 of those games were against either the Sun or the Sparks, 2 of the worst teams in the league. And then the defensive rating for the Valkyries, they've been second. They're second on the season. That's what they hang their hat on, is really, really suffocating defense and good rebounding. 2nd best rebound percentage in the last 10 versus 10th for the Aces. And the paint is where they own stuff, right? For the Valkyries, they do not let you get down there and score easy buckets. Number 1 limiting points in the paint in the last 10, top 2 on the season. And then for the Aces, or top on the season as well. And for the Aces, been dead last for the season and especially in the last 10 games. So 2 teams trending in opposite directions right now. I think you got to put some money down on the Valkyries. I understand that they are playing their 4th game in about 8 nights, and it's their 4th road game as well. But I don't really care. They've been playing so many players. They've got about 7 players that have played at least 15 plus minutes per game in the last 3 for them. They've got 7 players that are playing at least like 10 plus minutes. They're playing a lot of players is my point here. So these guys should be fresh. If Asia doesn't play, there's 2 plays that I'm going to be betting on here. We'll talk about that with Props Madness, but I wanted to point out how a couple of the important players for the Aces perform when Asia is off court. So this includes minutes that with games that Asia has been available, but when Asia is off court, and for instance, Jewel Lloyd is on court, she goes up, right? The 12.5 points is attributable to her going up to almost 3 threes per 30 minutes, or per 35 minutes for her, but she's hitting a ton of threes and taking a lot more shots, up to about 8 shots per game from deep without Asia Wilson this season in those 4 games. The boards go up a little bit, the assists, yeah, but I'm not really looking at those without Asia for Jewel Lloyd. Specifically for Jewel, I think the points are going to continue to be a good look for her because they play pace and space when Asia's not out there a lot more, and you see players like Jewel Lloyd getting the benefit of that because players like Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, driving a bit more, kicking, and Jewel Lloyd a little bit more of the focal point of the offense for sure. Other bet I like here is actually going to surprise you potentially. Chelsea Gray, what stands out to you when I show you the points, rebounds, assists, and how those change with and without Asia Wilson, right? If you look at the points, she goes up by about a point per 30 minutes. She goes up by half a rebound. But look at the assists. She goes down by 1.4 assists per 30 minutes when Asia's not on the floor. She's averaging about 4.5, almost 5 assists per game this season when she's playing with Asia. When she's not out there, 3.4. And the reason being pretty obvious. Chelsea Gray does get a good amount of her assists passing down low to Asia, who then does her thing to get a bucket, giving Gray that assist. Without her, not quite as of a good prop for Asia, for Chelsea Gray. Probably looking at potentially an under for her on the assist. We'll talk about that here in a sec. And then Young, the interesting thing here is that nothing really changes. If anything, what's weird is the boards go down a little bit when Asia's off court. That's also attributable to the fact that Kia Stokes comes on court. She's a better rebounder overall than Asia and a better defender for sure, and definitely emphasizes the defensive boards a lot more. So that does, sort of lead to Jackie not getting quite as many rebounds. But I do think we'll continue to see Jackie have good rebounding games like she did in this last one without Asia against the Mystics. So it looks like right as I was about to share my screen with Props Madness and show you the bets that I like in this game, Props Madness is currently down. So we're going to have to come back to that. I'll at least just tell you while I'm looking at these 3 players for the Aces what I like. And I basically tell you with these graphs, right? I do like Jewel Lloyd to get threes, probably be taking her for 3+ for plus money in this matchup. The Valkyries focus on guarding down low. They give up a ton of threes as a result. The most 3-point attempts against them, like the second most makes against them as well from 3. So I think Jewel Lloyd continues to take 8+ threes a game in this one. And so 3 for plus money is worth it. 2+ for like minus 150, minus 160. I would still be okay with taking the juice on Jewel Lloyd's threes for her to get 2, and then the plus money for the 3. Looking at Chelsea Gray, I do think under 4.5 is going to be good. It was at about even money for her to go under 4.5 assists in this game. The Valkyrie do limit assists a ton. They have done that against Chelsea Gray this season in their other matchup as well. And I think that that's going to continue to be the case because it's not going to be easy for her to get down low looks, which is where she gets the bulk of those assists. That number might even creep up to 5.5 for the assist line for Chelsea Gray. I will be going under on that. And then for Jackie Young, I want to take an over on the rebounds and assists at 8.5. Don't know if I can get there with it in this tough matchup. And I do like the Valkyrie to win this one, like I said. Plus, don't think there's going to be as many possessions or as much in terms of the props to the stats to go around, because I do think this game goes slow and that it is one that it sees a closer total to like the 150 total that these games have been going for the Aces when they don't have Asia Wilson. All right, y'all, don't forget, if you do want to jump into the VIP, go ahead and sign up for any of the sports books that are linked in the description of the video. Once you do, make sure you use code LYB, get all those free bets and bonuses from all these books, and then send me a screenshot. Just let me know that you did sign up using code LYB. I'll get you the free month in the VIP Discord so you don't miss any of the bets that we're putting down in there, plus the VIP chat, which gets you access to myself and the other pro bettors. So much appreciated, y'all. Best of luck here on Saturday. Until I see you next, happy betting.